technical difficulties there. Apologize for those of you watching. There's a couple of you in there. Say something in chat if you're here.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions and we can answer them later if we have some time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you want me to just finish that story about thick skin in first movie and how I got to where I'm at?
Yeah. Yeah, so we left off on the pigskin.
Yeah. Well, I like try some pigskin. Okay. So I worked on that movie when I was 15. And then the next year, after that, then I was like hungry. I'm like, all right, what other stuff can I do? I only did that for like a couple weeks. Then in Lake Arrowhead, I found out there was a production company that was just like super low budget, kind of cheesy. But I mean, he was doing it. So I was like, what can I do to help you? And he was like, had a 16 millimeter film camera and he was doing like his own movies. But then he also did events up there. So he's like, there's this fashion show that I'm filming, blah, blah, blah. But it's volunteers, so you won't get paid. But I need a camera operator and it's doing this and filming interviews. So I did that. And it was just like some Lake Arrowhead town fashion show. So it wasn't anything glamorous. Then they had a Lake Arrowhead Film Festival. And they actually had people from like all over. So I like met that guy, what's his name? Something McDonald, the one that's in Happy Gilmore. The guy that's like the opponent.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
Is it Michael McDonald?
Maybe.
Well, that guy, the tall, kind of curly, dark-haired dude. So he was there at this Lake Arrowhead Film Festival. So I'm like in charge of this huge, fat shoulder mount camera, like trying to film interviews of him as people are going around. And then actually Keith Carradine, I think he's the one that passed away a few years ago. Wow. But he was there. So I filmed like an interview of him. So they actually had some like big name actors there that was like doing this volunteer filming stuff in Lake Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like looking for whatever I could do and taking whatever kind of came my way.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2006, we ended up moving to Kauai. I was still graduated high school that year. My parents were moving out to Kauai. My dad does construction, so they went out to help with building a church and a Bible college for Calvary Chapel there in Kapa'a in Kauai. So it was my choice of like, I can go to film school or I can go to Kauai. So I'll go to Kauai and start and just get my prereqs knocked out. Because that was my plan, was to go to like the university and do film school.
Later, yeah.
Yeah, so I moved out with them in summer 2006, started fall 2006 at the Kauai Community College, just getting my GE stuff knocked out. Found production places over there. They had a local public access TV station called Huike. So it was like Huike Public Access TV. And that December, I'd only been there like 3 or 4 months on island, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
They were having their Rice Street, it was called Lights on Rice Parade. So it's like their city parade or island-wide parade. And they needed volunteer camera operators. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So
you're like 17 at this point?
Yeah. So I was 17. Yeah. I was born in 89. So 2006, yeah, 17. So 17 in a few months. And then after that, when January hit, I was, they called me from the TV station. They're like, hey, we need to hire somebody. Like, we'd like that you came and filmed and stuff. And you at least know somewhat what you're doing. Like, do you want to work here? I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up, actually, I didn't start college yet. I started college spring of 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was going to community college down the street, I was working at the public access TV station as a technical director when I was 17. So that just meant that I was in charge of like helping run the VHS player machine. That was still all the things they showed on the public access was the VHS machine that had the robot arm like.
So what, as a high schooler, did that kind of puff up your ego a lot or what?
No, not really. I mean, that was my title. I was like, oh, I'm a technical director. So it was what it was, but it's in like a 3-person staffed public access TV station. So I didn't feel too puffed up. But yeah, while I was doing the community college doing that, and then I was in charge of like the local access show. So people would show up. It was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They could show up and speak for up to 5 minutes about whatever they wanted.
I can't even imagine what that would be like on Kauai. Like, we have a similar thing from when I was a kid called the Kaku, but I mean, that's already, I mean, Maui already has like 5 times as many people as Kauai, so like.
It was the same people like week after week, and we could call it the Kuku instead of the Kaku. It was like all the crazy people come out of the woodwork. It was just like
Was it like Hawaiian activists and hippies and stuff?
Yep, there was a homeless guy that would come in, like guy in his 50s or 60s that was homeless that lived on all the beaches, and he would come like, he was like out of his mind, like rant about stuff, like stuff that like you have to keep it like somewhat politically correct and not cussing and stuff. And he would just start like cussing and talking about like this. And he's like, and today I brought this Playboy magazine, and he's like, we're like, no, and then like, so there was a few
public
times
access.
Fade out. Like pull the little bar down, and he would just keep talking, and I'm like in the little room with the little window, like trying to like do like cut off, you're done, like, and I was just like 5 minutes, fade out. So I had to fade him out early sometimes because he was just like going crazy. So, but yeah, like local Hawaiian public activist people, like don't let them bring the super ferry when that was a huge thing.
Yeah, we were big on Maui. I wasn't living on Maui at the time, but you know, that was a huge deal here. People would paddle out with canoes and surfboards and paddleboards, and they would like stand in front so that the boat couldn't pass them. It's kind of like the Hawaiian equivalent, you know, like in the old days, people would like lie down in front of like the like backhoe or the excavator so they couldn't drive in. The Hawaiians are out there like on their surfboard. Like because it's a lot of people don't realize that's actually incredibly dangerous. It's on par with going in front of an excavator, because if that boat goes over you, those motors will at the very least, if you come into contact with a spinning, you know, underwater motor
from the huge boat,
you're gonna have at least some serious brain damage or a broken back or something, if not just be killed. So to be able to like, for people to do that, they're literally, I mean, I'm not trying to comment on the like political validity of it. I don't want to go there, but that's like craziness.
So I mean, like that's kind of stuff people come in and talk about. And then one guy would bring his like mini keyboard, and he's like, tiny bubbles,
some Don Ho.
Yeah, like straight up. But he's like really old. Like I was just like, you got your 5 minutes. This is your 5 minutes of fame. Come on. And then they're like, their loyal followings are like, they would come in and they're like, if I don't do this today, all my fans won't like, I will let them down. Like the old guy that played him, like,
who's his fans? Like his wife or something?
Yeah, his mom, his sister. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty good. I've done music, and I don't even know if my family would be considered my fans. They're kind of like whatever.
So I was doing that, going to the community college, and then this is like where like things shifted in summer 2007 or April, May-ish. The whole island starts going crazy because it's like when something is happening on the island, everybody knows about it with the coconut wireless. So it'd be like, there's a big movie coming here, and they've always filmed movies on all the islands. Like, this movie,
I know what you're talking about.
This movie, Tropic Thunder, is going to be filming out here. I was just like, okay, so what do I got to do to work on it? So I put together my cheesy resume that had somebody help me. The filming from the what's it called? Sorry, I'm trying to do business at the same time. The fashion show, the film contest, and all that stuff. So I had and I printed on like super nice, like thick grade paper, and it was all like, had like a crazy look to it. So then I walk into the production office that I set up there at the hotel in Kapa'a, and I go and I'm like, this is what I've done. This is my experience. What do you guys need help with? How can I work on this movie? And they're like, well, we need a office PA for 2 days to like copy papers and help us do the shot list and just like paperwork stuff.
PA, okay. Production assistant?
Yeah. Production acronym. Yeah. So 2 days turned into a week, turned into 2 weeks. And then they could just see, like, I was hungry, like, just like, whatever, what could I do? And all this stuff. And then one day they get a call in the office, and they're like, we need an on-set production assistant. And I was just like, me, I'll do it. So then they sent me, like, to the middle of the jungle to go start working on set. And it was just, like, the craziest, like, grunt type stuff.
So did you get to meet, like, RDJ or Tom Cruise or any of those guys?
They didn't. Well, Tom Cruise probably did in L.A., but I got to like work on it for like 3.5, 4 months, and every day I was on set with Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller, Jay Baruchel, like all these people that are like super huge now.
Yeah, those are all A-listers.
Bill Hader. I mean, he was like a supporting actor at that time because he was doing SNL stuff.
Yeah.
What does it do with the curly hair that was like the explosives during that movie that he's like huge now too? Like all those people, like Jay Baruchel is like How to Train Your Dragon, the main dude. Like, so this is all when they were like supporting actors in 2007. So my job as a production assistant, I'd have to get there at like 4 a.m. to the hotel where all the crew was staying. The actors stayed in all their own crazy rental properties or if they own stuff there. But I would have to like be there and like roll call like each crew member, like, and it's like 4 a.m. It's like, all right, electrical, grip department, camera, everybody's here. This person's out sick. So I had to do that. Then I would jump on the last van and go like 45 minutes like into the middle of the jungle on this private property called Grove Farms that they rented out to the movie, but it's privately owned land. Do that, and then all day just like, they call it like lockup. Like you have to lock down. I forget what it was, but you have to like, if they're filming, like they had like helicopter scenes over there. We're like in the middle of the jungle. That's war stuff. So you like can't let people walk on set because it's dangerous. And I'm like some 17-year-old kid telling everybody. I was literally the youngest one working on the whole set. And I was like doing a lockup. I'd be like, you can't walk by. They're filming. They'd be like, who the heck are you? Like just basically like you little dumb kid. Like, and I'm like with the little radio like, this person just came through my lockup. Like, they're not listening to me. And so it was just like a lot of dealing with stuff like that. Because, I mean, most of the time, if they knew they couldn't go through, they would stand there and wait. And then there was like 10 people like glaring at me, just waiting. Like, and I'm like on my little earpiece radio, like, all right, you guys can go through now. And they're like, finally, whatever. So I'm just like PAs are just like the peons.
So what does that mean, lockup? Like, are they filming something where they don't want people to accidentally be in the scene or make sound or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So like they got their wide shot, and then I'm the lockup on this side, and the other PAs are over here. So they have like their framing, and then obviously it's a hazard, but then they don't want to mess up the shot because they're filming on actual film that costs money. It's not just digital, like, oh, let's just redo it. Plus all the moving parts and helicopters flying in and doing switchbacks. So it was like, if you mess up this shot and you were the one on that lockup, like it's a big deal. So
you can't come in here.
Yeah, just give me a little bit longer.
Uncle.
Okay, they're gonna be quiet.
You're gonna be quiet?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of an important call right now. You wanna come say hi?
Hello.
This is my nephew. And then the neighbors.
Oh, nice.
Hi.
This is real life.
Hey, guys. So they're saying, like, hey, how come you took over the kids' room? Because my office is having the floor redone.
Yeah.
Did you know we already got flooring done? Did you know that?
Not at my office, buddy. Could you take your toys and go out? Maybe?
Hi. I can tie my watch. I have a watch.
Why is that
They're
relevant?
gonna be quiet.
Here, you know what? I'm just gonna move into the other room. How about that? Give me a sec.
Get out! Get out!
Give
I'm
me
gonna
a
go
sec.
Beauty and the Beast on them. While you do that, just mute your mic real quick on the feed, and then I can finish telling my story. You can mute it like on the actual program. No, I can hear you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
There, now you're muted. Good job. All right. So yeah, working on that set every day. When I was 17, I'd start at like 4 a.m. Have to do roll call. Work on the set all day, doing stuff, whatever they needed. Just go for this, go for that. And then I had to stay to the end of the day. And then by the end of the day, I had to like get everybody's like out times for the day. So I was like getting done at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight sometimes. So 17 years old, I was like, whatever. I was working from like 4 a.m. to midnight some days, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. It was crazy, but I was like super excited, like hanging out with Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr. and all those people. So it was really fun, really cool. And even on that set, even as being an on-set production assistant every day, from there I even tried to like see what else I could do. So I was always like asking questions, and everybody like in the industry that knows what they're doing was always pretty chill. They're like, as long as we're not in the middle of our job and you want to ask a question and it's chill, like we'd love to answer anything. So I was always asking questions, like trying to absorb everything I could and just soak it up. So I was always hanging out with one crew, especially one part of the crew was the video playback. So with that guy, he would digitally record with we were doing a wireless transmitter from the film camera to his little booth. So he was digitally recording a backup on 8mm tapes and on a hard drive. So that way, for some reason, if the film got messed up or anything like that, he at least had a digital backup. So just for redundancy, but I was always hanging out with him. And at one point, as I was an on-set PA, he requested that I become his PA. So then I was like, heck yeah, because then I wasn't running around doing all the crazy stuff anymore. It was still work and long days, but when I was working with video playback and video assist, all I would do every day is roll up with this dude, and all the other PAs are running around doing crazy stuff and go for this, go for that. When you do that, you have to answer to the assistant directors, who are the ones
it's harder.
And then I was like, then I became the video assist PA, and I was getting like mad dog by some of the PAs of like, you're doing that now? Like, because I like moved up a little bit. So then all I had to do every day was like set up the monitors and the playback stuff for like, Ben Stiller directed that movie and starred in it. So we'd set up the monitors for Ben Stiller and then script supervisor and stuff like that. So I like worked my way to video assist PA. So I was super stoked to go to work even that much more to be on set, because it was a lot less hectic and a lot less stress. And I was just like sitting back, like all you do is just sit there and watch a screen all day, make sure you're recording on your 8mm tapes and your digital. And so when that guy needed something, it was super chill. Like, hey, can you just go do this real quick? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And then all the other PAs are getting yelled at and cussed out by all the ADs and all this stuff. So AD is assistant directors.
Yeah.
So I moved up even on Tropic Thunder, and that just lit a fire after that movie was done. Then I started working on whatever came to the island. I would just like, I got to know like the local production managers and people that would do the local hiring.
So when did you leave Kauai?
I was in Kauai from 2006 to 2012. So I was there for 6 years. So in that gap, I did reality TV shows. I did Pirates of the Caribbean, the 4th one. I
didn't realize that was in Kauai.
Yeah, well, it was Kauai and Oahu.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I worked on The Descendants, which was a George Clooney movie. So he's super chill, too, hanging out with him. Worked on a little bit of Soul Surfer, the one about Bethany Hamilton on the 2nd unit.
Yep.
A little bit, just like a week or so. And then reality TV shows, one called High School Reunion, which was on TV Land. It's an offshoot from The Bachelor, same company. But they take everybody for the 20-year reunion and put them in the same house and give them a bunch of liquor and film it. So they're like, the jock, the cheerleader, the nerd. And then they like show them their old pictures and show them now and like try to cause drama.
They make them cool.
Did you guys like each other back in the day? And like, here's a hot tub and here's a bunch of alcohol. Like, what do you think? Like, it was just like dumb. It was all like, it wasn't, all that's called produced reality. It's not scripted, but there's story producers that watch screens and they have assigned people every day. So when they take them for the one-on-one on the fly, the OTF interviews, they just like load it. Like, did you know that this person said this? Or what if this person said this? How would you react? So they got their whole plan as story producers, and these people are just like, well, if they said that, I would say blah, blah, blah. And then they just chop out that section, and then they're like, you hear this person said this about you? And it's just like crazy.
Yeah, so it was mostly like people from all over the world working on these projects, right?
Yeah. So a lot of them for LA and stuff, but just like people from all walks of life and different things. So.
How many like local like people from Hawaii who live there? Not a huge amount, right? There's not like people who live full time on Kauai and Oahu and work on like high budget stuff.
There is a decent amount, not a bunch, but you have to be part of the union, like the local. I think it's the local 600 or the local 650 out there. Like one of my friends is like a assistant camera or a camera assistant. So he has to always go like Oahu, Maui, Big Island, mainland, all this stuff, like, to stay busy because there's not always stuff on one island, let alone even all the stuff always on all islands. So
yeah, I get that. How do you feel
I
like
was never part of any of those unions, so I always had to like start almost from the bottom and like get in as a PA and then like just up.
So you never were a union member. That's probably why you were able to get it, because your fee was probably like...
Yeah, I wasn't like an exorbitant amount of money.
Like the union guys, I'm assuming, cost a lot, because that's usually the way it works with any type of union.
And they could work me to the bone, even paying hourly, even time and a half, because once you pass 12 hours in a union, it's X amount. Once you pass 16 or 18, then 20, and past 24, there's something called golden hour. Once you get past 24, and every hour of work is a day's pay. Yeah. So these guys are telling me in the union, they're like, we're just going out, we're about to go on golden hour right now. It's like, I wish I was you. So I was on PA, like $10 an hour thing. I mean, even on Tropic Thunder being 17, I was like, with the amount of hours I was doing, I was bringing home like $1,200 a week. So being 17, pocketing $4,800 a month,
living at home and all that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
living at your parents,
hanging out with Jack Black. Like, so my first name is Jon-Michael. A lot of people call me JM, and then he thought when I said JM that I was saying Jam. He's like, I'm gonna call you Jams. So like my nickname with Jack Black, and I was like, I'm gonna call you Jabes, because like people call him JB. So I call him Jabes every day. I saw him, he called me Jams. So when I'm like 17.
Whoa, you had like a buddy name with Jack Black.
Yeah, we were on a nickname basis for him. So being 17 doing that, I actually had my 18th birthday one day on the set of Tropic Thunder. So everybody's singing like happy birthday, and I'm like, this is like surreal. I just turned 18 and I'm like the youngest one on the set working on Tropic Thunder on a $150 million budget movie.
Yeah, so, that's crazy. And those guys actually charge quite a bit more to do movies now, so you couldn't get that cast together for that much these days.
Oh no,
not even close. Maybe tenfold. Yeah. Maybe tenfold.
Even at the end of some days, I was hanging out like with Jay Baruchel and the other dude, I forgot his name. He's the comedian, the black dude. The other young one that was in there.
I forget. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at remembering as an actor.
I would like be hanging out with them in front of the hotel, because they were staying in the hotel because they were the B actors. And they were tripping out. They're like, dude, and they would show me like their paychecks, and they're like, look, I'm making $20,000 a week, and they're like tripping out. And I was like, oh, like, and I was like, I'm making $1,200 a week. Ah. So yeah, that was like, at that time, 17, like I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So that like lit the fire. That's why I went to like work on the other stuff, the reality shows. I did a season of The Bachelor in LA, because after doing the high school reunion, since it was the same company, I came out to California, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna do a season of The Bachelor. I think it's like season 13 or something. So, which is a long time ago. It's 2009 now. So I did that, filmed out in LA in the crazy bachelor house. It's up in the Rich Mansion Hills over there.
Wowzers.
So, and then I traveled with them up to San Francisco through Big Sur. So I was actually on that crew, like traveling around. So I got to go to Napa Valley and all this stuff. So it was just cool. Like, and I was 19 at that time. So between the ages of 15 to 21, I worked on all these like crazy, awesome shows and movies. Learned a lot of stuff. The last big movie I worked on was Pirates of the Caribbean. That was 2010, the fourth one with the mermaids. And that one I actually got hired in the makeup effects department making those mermaids. So I helped make all those, there's the CG ones, but then there's practical ones. So I made mermaid skeletons and I learned how to put like fake skin on it and painted them and all this stuff.
What the heck? That's so random.
Yeah, so like, I mean, it's Disney, so they like go all out. But then I was working in the department that made all the mermaids. So I made mermaid skeletons, which they made molds out of clay. Then we poured the molds out of this 2-part epoxy. And then so I had to assemble, after we made the molds, after these crazy artists had made out of clay, we made it out of clear plastic, hard plastic. And then we assembled it, then we aged it, painted it, put skin on it and hair, and put a skull, and I was like, So they're in the movie. It's in the movie where they're like hung up, like they're all strung up, and they're holding like in the pools.
Yeah.
Blackbeard or whatever. So all those was like what I helped make. So
I'm gonna watch it now. I'm gonna go watch it. Be like, I know the guy who helped make those.
The skeletons. They actually filmed out on the North Shore of Oahu. So
really?
The skeleton scene is over there by Turtle Bay Resort.
What a trip!
Like in some random forest by the beach.
That's so funny.
So they built all those pools. Though. It's all fake, but they like dug it out and made all this fake rock and all this stuff and set that up and put the chains. But those things were like super fragile because they're plastic, so we had to like have them shipped from Kauai to Oahu, and like shipped, and it said fragile. Then they had them in huge big crates. We had to uncrate it, and then like 3 of us like tried to move the thing in there and then tie it up without breaking the skeleton. So it's just like so much stuff goes into like these movies that only makes it on for like a minute or two, if that.
Yeah.
So, and I did that for like 3 months making skeletons.
So you're not doing too much stuff in Hollywood these days. Mostly it's more like production for corporate accounts and stuff. Yeah.
So with all those years and all that experience and all that stuff, learning from, I helped with camera assistant, lighting, wardrobe. Like when I first got hired on Pirates, I worked in the aging and dyeing department for the wardrobe, which meant like I had to make new clothes look old because pirates are wearing them. So it was like a sweatshop. It was like, if you rip one cloth, all 3, there's like 3 or 4 duplicates. So you have to like age it in the same way.
Wow.
So I learned how to age like boots that they wear, or spray bleach on it and hit like with metal sponge and like scrub it and try to make it look weathered from like sea air, and how to stretch out new belts and make them look worn. So I learned that, and I did that for a couple weeks, and then I had like the in with the makeup effects department, and I like bailed like after 2 weeks on the aging and dyeing department because I felt like I was aging and dyeing just doing it. So
yeah, not the funnest, not your funnest experience. Most fun.
No, just like scrubbing it with a pumice stone. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm working on Pirates, but I'm like making holes in clothes and making them look super old. Like, I don't get it. So yeah. But yeah, so I took all that, learning from camera, lighting, audio, playback, wardrobe, makeup effects, everything like that. And then just when I shifted, I met my wife, we started dating, and I was doing movies, and her dad, she's the younger of his 2 daughters. So she's a baby and it's a daughter. So he's like, if you want to marry my daughter, you need to have a steady job for 1 year with insurance. Yes, sir. So I had to like figure out like, what can I do on Kauai that's like steady for a year with insurance, and I don't want to do construction or work in a hotel. All these like main things you could do on Kauai.
Yeah, those are the go-tos.
Yeah. So at the time, TSA, the federal government was hiring at the airport to do security. I was just like, all right, I'm going to do this because I need a steady job and I want to get married and I want to do like the right thing. So I did that. I stopped doing movies and I started TSA in December 2010. So did that, which was a huge life change because there's no creative outlet. You're taking people's waters away. You're patting them down. You're getting yelled at every day, cussed at. Like, you're just there. So I did everything. Like, you run the x-ray machine. You do all that stuff. So I sidestepped a whole different career and then transferred out to San Diego in 2012. So I was in Kauai for like a year and a half, 2 years at the airport. Transferred to the San Diego airport because that's another story for another day, but our first son was a high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like super loud in the back. What is that?
Sorry, it's a truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, we came to California because they didn't have a NICU on Kauai and they couldn't do neonatal surgery. So we'd have to go to Oahu, California. So it just worked out for us to move that year in 2012. And San Diego offered a full-time transfer at the airport. So doing that, fast forward, 2014, after being at TSA for 4 years, we were like struggling because TSA's like the redheaded stepchild of all the government agencies. It's the newest one and not on the same pay scale. Yeah. So after doing that for 4 years, I was like, I need to do something creative and I need more money because this isn't paying the bills. And my wife was staying home with our son. So I was like, oh, I can do video. I can do side jobs or whatever. And then the church we were helping out with at the time was just starting a new campus. Then they were going to buy gear. So they said, give us a gear list. Or I approached them and I said, if I give you like a gear list and I help you guys make videos for your church, can I use the gear to do side jobs? And they're like, yeah, that'll be fine. So I was like, okay. So I had them buy like $6,000 worth. They had like a good chunk of change. So I had them get a 5D Mark III. I had them get a shotgun mic. I had them get like an XLR, basically adapter to put into the camera, tripod, all this, like a $6,000 setup. The 24-105.
I mean, that right there is a huge use for most people who are trying to put together. You just need a 5D Mark III. And
yeah.
You can.
And this is 2013.
Yeah.
So that was like cutting edge.
You can buy, some mics, and I don't even really recommend most people getting lights right away.
No, I didn't even have them.
Yeah, you start without the lights, right, and then you kind of learn how to use them as you go. When I see people buy like 10th grand worth of lighting who are just getting into video, it's like you don't even know like what your style is or how you want to light things up. Lighting is like it's like kind of like drawing, like you figure it out. You figure out how you like to do it over time. But yeah, that's really that's some good info just as a side note, because you don't need a ton of money to get started in video, especially these days. Or any money,
Or
in your case, any money, because you did like a trade.
A strategic partnership.
Yeah, partnership, whatever.
But that's the technical way, but yeah, it's doing videos for our church, and they bought it, and I just used it. So I started doing that and building up clientele in 2013. So in 2014 hit, I was like, I need to make an official company. So that's when I started Eternal Perspective Productions. And each job I would get, I was putting it towards like our bills because we needed it. But then I was also buying gear, like piece by piece. Mm-hmm. So then I bought some lights, or I bought a tripod, or I bought a mic, and I bought a camera body, so I just started building it from there.
Yeah.
From 2014, I was still at TSA, but I was still doing videos on the side, and I had an official company. Mm-hmm. So 2014 was pretty good, side income. 2015 pushed it even more. Basically, the first year I made X amount. I don't know if we're supposed to say amounts on here or whatever, but
you can say whatever you want.
Well, I'll just say it because it's pretty crazy and it might be encouraging for somebody to hear. So 2014, I did 10,000 with video on the site. Yeah. But in 2015, I did 30,000 with video on the site.
Oh.
So it tripled. Child. And then that was 2015. And then 2016, I did 85,000 with video.
Whoa, we're seeing a climb here.
Yeah.
And 2017, he did 400,000.
Yeah, and no. It leveled off after
2018, he did 1.7 million.
It leveled off. Once you get close to six figures, you're kind of...
It is hard, especially if you want to keep control over everything. You have to... It's one of those things you learn. You have to make a lot of money to scale. Like, you have to make a lot more to, like, bring in, for example, like an employee. That first employee is like... It's like you have to make twice as much as you did before, and then you're going to lose money in addition to it.
Yeah, you're like, what's happened?
I've kind of tried to do it
from
myself.
From 10 to 30 to 85 was like exponential, and it was just like going over, like it was growing, and the biggest thing was like to make sure it was viable, because it was me and my wife and our son, and then we were actually pregnant. Our second son was due June 2016.
Yeah.
So our master plan was, when he was born, to go on medical leave and use the FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, that you can get insurance and coverage up to 12 weeks total at your same insurance premium. Mm-hmm. So our plan was like, all right, this is growing. Our whole goal was like to flip it, where video was the main income and TSA was getting phased out, which started to happen.
Yeah.
So that's when we had our son. The day that my wife went into labor was June 11th, 2016. I was at the airport, and then she texted me. She's like, I'm going into labor. And then I just looked at everybody. I was working in the back, the baggage area, and I was like, I'm not working with you again. I'm not working with you again. I'm never working with you again. And I was like a big smile on my face. And everybody was excited because I knew that I shouldn't be at TSA for my whole life. So everybody's like, some people are haters though. They're like, you'll be back. Yeah, you're not. We'll see you in 3 months or whatever. I was like, no, not me. So
that's only gonna fuel the fire a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm fueled by the haters.
So maybe they were trying to encourage you.
Well, some people are really like just. I mean, you've traveled. Some people at TSA are just like disgruntled. Like you can't do anything to fix their world. So some are. I mean, most people are chill. Everywhere you go, any workplace, there's going to be happy, mad, sad, crazy people that the world's against them.
That's 3 categories. Everybody you can chunk them into: happy, mad, sad, crazy.
Yeah.
4.
I mean, we could all do that. Yeah. But for the most part, everybody at the San Diego airport and even in Kauai, like they've been following my journey. When I left TSA. Yeah, so I mean, they all kind of, you can see when somebody's like not meant to be somewhere, and I felt like that's how it was. Mm-hmm. I like tried to do the job to the best of my abilities, and I was good at it, to just give it my 110%. But like my brain doesn't operate the same like employee mentality. Like I could do it, but that's not where I thrive.
Yeah, sometimes I think about it, and it's interesting because for me, I don't have kids yet. I probably will eventually, just that's the most likely thing, but I don't have kids right now. And I mean, somebody's got to take me.
Yeah, so hopefully.
But you know, it's kind of, people are always like, oh, you should be able to make so much because you don't have kids, but what they don't realize is so much of what they do in their life is around like providing for their kids. And for your case specifically, what I see that's interesting is you did initially want to get, like, you did initially take the job because you wanted to get married and you wanted to make everything good with your family, which is important. Like you gotta really, you know, accommodate parents and all that stuff. But even with that job, you weren't getting the kind of income and security that you needed to have, you know, which is such a common story for people these days, because most jobs you don't make enough to have a family, where you used to it used to be one person could work. If one person was willing to work 40 hours a week, they could provide for a whole family, and that was normal. That I don't know anybody in my circle who can work like a regular job like that and make, you know, 50, 60K a year and support a family of 4 or 5.
Right. It just depends where you live, where cost of living is.
I mean, I guess like in Georgia or something maybe, but in Hawaii, California, it's just not even a consideration. So people who are kind of old are going to have had a lot of success with that model, try to apply that type of thinking on the situation, and it's a difficult thing, especially when family members, they know that to be a way that works. I can relate to that personally because, you know, I don't typically work regular 9-to-5 jobs. I have, but it's not a huge income boost when I do. It's usually like for me,
I mean, it's a safety net to have like a stable job, and you take the cut sometimes to have stability.
It's also easier to have your money released to you like in a weekly basis, because when you
learn how to budget better, actually.
Yeah, when you make like $50,000, you think, oh, like in a lump sum, you're like, I'm good for like 10 years, you know? But really, you know, you have to plan that money to last you with whatever living, you know, means you're living by for like a year, you know, sometimes. Sometimes I do projects that span 6 months, sometimes a year, you know, and I'll get paid like these huge lump sums, and then I'll literally have like no money for like a month. You gotta
learn to ration it out. I mean, I'm learning that. I don't have it fully locked in yet, but learn.
But I mean, there are challenges of having, you know, your own thing. Because you're just talking about churches, I just wanted to ask you what you think real quick about the difference between working for churches. For those of you who don't know, I consider myself a Christian as well. Not as adamant on the church attendance as some people would like, but I mean, I go, you know, once every couple weeks, maybe once a week.
You're not saved, though, by how many church services you go to, so.
I don't know. That's not what the...
Yeah, if you're not putting money in the offering plate, I don't know. No.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people who don't have exposure to people who, like, kind of relate to, who identify as Christians and identify as that being, like, a huge part of their life, like, for example, at my last job, it was majority atheists, very few Christians, and there was almost kind of this talk about how, like, religious people are generally, like, negative. It's a negative trait, especially for Christians, you know, because...
Is this when they know that what you believe? Or they're just in general and they don't know that about you?
I think in previous work environments, I would kind of minimize spirituality initially to kind of figure out where people are at. And I mean, eventually, if I get to know them better, I'd kind of tell them, like, about my values and stuff, but I would never just come out and throw it out there with a new relationship, you know?
Right.
You know, I would have to know where they're coming from first, and then I could kind of go there if it became relevant. I mean, if I'm at a job, my job is to do my job, you know?
Right.
Not to, like, you know, talk about my spiritual place, or I don't know. I feel like I'm not articulating that super well. But anyway, like, one thing I've experienced, because I have...
So you're saying that you did do something like this and had a cross at the right of the middle of your logo?
No, I mean...
Oh, you mean like that, blasting them. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would be so bold as you, Jon-Michael.
Mine is a T, but it looks like a cross because I am a Christian and Christ is at the center of my life and business, which shows in a business way that I actually stand for a certain set of values, and I operate that way in my business and personal life. So, like what you were saying, even just working in secular contracts, relationships, movies, TV shows, all that, I mean, scriptural, just like do a small offshoot, is like in the Bible talks to be in the world but not of it. So if I want to be on these movie sets working for DreamWorks and Disney and The Bachelor and all this stuff, like, I can be on those sets even as a Christian. Doesn't mean I have to, like, support everything they do or, like, be like cheering them on to do all this crazy stuff. But these people, how I always looked at it was that was my calling, like, to be in there. And obviously God opened up these doors because I was never related to anybody in the industry or had, like, the in. And it was just all by, like, knocking on doors, basically, and God obviously allowing these things to happen. But I just viewed it as, like, my circle of influence, my kind of mission field in a way. Because it's super dark. The whole media industry is movies and TV shows. Yeah. And you work 16, 18, 20 hours a day, and you're on location for months at a time. Everybody works, and then they hit the bar, they're doing drugs, they're hooking up with each other, and they do it all over every single day. It's just crazy.
Having a blast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, working themselves to the bone for their families that are a few months away, or not a few months, a few thousand miles away, but for months on end. That's one of the reasons why I'm still not doing it, actually, is I saw what these people, like, had to do to have this life. And a lot of people actually told me, they're like, I've been doing this for 25 years and I love movies, but I'm divorced, but I missed this in my kid's life. I didn't do this, and I don't have a relationship.
Wow.
But I'm on all these big, but I've done Jurassic Park, I've done this, I've done Terminator, so they can list off a fat list of things. But not everybody is like this, but a lot of them, from what I talked to, I was just asking questions and listening, and they're just like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Movies, family, they don't really like,
it's hard to make it.
So for me, I was just like, how do I do both? I want to have a family. That's why I left movies to work at TSA, which is, everybody loves to hate TSA, but family is more important to me.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go a little bit philosophical here, but, you know, there's always this kind of, I mean, even if you're not religious at all, there's always some type of figure that you kind of deify, you know? And I think in like these days, a lot of people deify celebrities, you know, where back in the day they would deify, like, you know, whoever was their primary religious figure, you know, like for you, it's obviously like Jesus, you know, and it's a little bit of a difficulty because people don't think of like these celebrities as like normal human beings that have like feelings and problems and all that stuff. They see them when they're at their best, at their peak, you know, performing at what they're best at, you know. But a lot of the time, and they think, oh, I want to be like that person, but in reality, they're not necessarily wanting even their own situation sometimes, you know. So it's just kind of interesting enough. Tons of actors have committed suicide, drug overdoses.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's just kind of one of those things where I'm not telling people like don't be actors, but I mean everything has like a dark side. So if you are like a parent and you know you don't have like $1 billion in the bank, but you get to be there when your kid graduates from high school or when they say their first word or all that stuff, I just kind of urge you, if you're listening, to just kind of really be thankful for that, because I guarantee you any of those people who have like $1 bazillion would at the end of the day trade a substantial portion of that in order to get those moments back.
Yeah,
sounds kind of generic, but it's
no,
true, man.
It's true though. Like for me, like we're still figuring stuff out. Like the reason I'm like in this place, there's like cheesy stuff on the wall. We're actually living at my in-laws' house right now because San Diego, like we're dying to survive, and like 5 months ago they offered to let us be here for 6 months, so we got 1 month left of just knocking out debt and stuff. But that's just, I mean, because real life, so that's like real talk right there. But still, my company's still doing stuff, but the whole thing is like the memories that we've created, and I get to be around my 2 boys and my wife every day, and for the most part every day. Sometimes I travel, I have to go across the US sometimes and do different jobs, but it's on my terms. I'm the one in charge of the filming, in charge of the directing, the editing, and all that stuff. And it's a whole different thing than being a piece of this huge pie when I can call the shots or take the jobs I want.
Yeah.
Not take the jobs I don't want.
Yeah.
So, and I know that I'm like rich in memories and relationships and blessings, and we all need money to pay the bills. But when you take your focus off the almighty dollar, it's like, all right, what do you really want? Like, it's kind of like the thing when people talk about like, what's your obituary you're gonna read? Like, what do you want it to say? So looking back at your deathbed, if they write 2 sentences about you on your gravestone or in the newspaper, it's like, what is it gonna say? Like, how do you want that to read? So that even plays into why my company is called Eternal Perspective Productions.
Yeah.
Because I try to live with an eternal perspective of like, there's this life, but this isn't everything.
Yeah.
So I believe once we die, we're gonna either be with God forever or separate from God forever. So my company, it also plays into with perspective, because camera and filming and angles and all this stuff, there's perspective, there's lenses, there's all this stuff. So Eternal Perspective Productions, there's so many layers to it, and my wife, she's like super awesome. She's the one that actually helped me create the logo. So it wasn't through an agency, it wasn't doing, so we created it ourselves. So I was like on Photoshop and she's over my shoulder like, do this, do that. So like to see, like if you look, there's like 3 different fonts on it. It depends like how deep you want to get, like 3 different fonts.
Like I'll just tell people who are not familiar with design, that is usually, like if you're in a design school, they're going to tell you don't do multiple fonts on a singular logo almost all the time, especially if it's the name of the company. So you would... You saw that rule and you said, frick you, rule.
Yeah. Well, that's what our job is to do as business owners and entrepreneurs and founders and all that stuff. Like, I know I'm not built to follow the rules. I mean, I'll follow them, but I'll try to bend it as much as possible. So.
Yeah, and it looks great. It works.
Like, I don't adhere to society's rules. And he's like looking at me like, what? And I was like, well, I do. I follow the laws, but like mentally, everybody has like this set of rules, and they're scared to do this, or scared to say that, and I'm just like, why? Yeah. So that goes back to even every job that I've always had. It just started with asking, as far as like production stuff, the movies, the TV shows, all that. Like just putting yourself out there, like you said, and not being afraid of no, because
it doesn't mean you're not valuable.
The worst they can say is no. Like you're not gonna die.
And if they say no, you're still a valuable human being that has a lot of potential, and you can contribute to the world.
And after so many no's, there's going to be a yes. So I've heard a lot of people talk like that are like,
and there's definitely not going to be a yes if there's no no's. If there's no asking, there's never going to be a yes.
And actually write it down and say I've had 20 no's and then a yes. So then I got a 20-to-1 ratio. So makes you get through the no's quicker to get to the yes. So I mean, depending on how you look at it, there's always stuff like that.
If you can't lose, you can't play ball.
Yeah.
So get back on the court.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's call it in. Let's just talk about a little bit of your of what you got going on now, and let's get out of here because this is the longest one I've done so far.
With technical stuff and all that.
Yeah.
We'll go back. There's some nuggets in here.
Well.
So right now.
Oh, go ahead.
What's it?
Go ahead.
Current projects. Let's see. I have like some outstanding like long-term clients that I've had for 5 years since I started my company, or before I officially started my company. One's a big church called Shadow Mountain Community Church, which is in El Cajon, San Diego area.
I've been there.
Well known. They have huge radio ministry, TV ministry, all this stuff like that. So when I said I'm off, what's up? My wife. 7.5 years married.
This is my record of the most disturbances during a stream ever.
But yeah, so I do a lot of videos for them. They actually don't really have an on-staff video person, so I do stuff for all their different ministries. So anything from like sign-up campaigns for the small groups or Christmas events. Like last week I did motion graphics and lyric videos and crazy dimension backgrounds that are JPEGs, but it's 5760 by 1080, so it's a triple wide screen that's a huge LED wall that's triple wide. So just doing stuff like that for them, but then I do stuff for corporations. So I did a huge grant campaign for this one company called Safariland. I did a 5-video series about their professional shooters, and Safariland makes gun holsters and body armor and stuff like that. So all they do, it was really cool because they said, this is like what your criteria is. Make a really cool video, and that's awesome. Like that's all they said, and then they're like, okay, go. So that's what I like to have, is like creative control, and that they trust me. So basically before we were having our meetings about it, they said like, send us some videos of how you envision you would make ours. So I actually went on like the North Face videos, a lot of those, because all these people that are in the shooting sports are really outdoorsy, but they're like super adventurous, epic music, but then there's like an awesome story with heart in it.
Yeah.
So I sent them like a lot of North Face videos because they do a really good job with marketing. And then they're like, I like this video, how this is. I don't like this other one you sent, because there was a couple different other branding videos I sent. So they honed in what their look and feel was, and they're like, all right, go ahead. So I did a 5-series video, and I went from, what was the first one? Kansas City, then I did Ohio, then Seattle, then 2 in California. And then Safariland is just one of their sponsors, and these people are like world-class professional shooters in the shooting sports, so and all type stuff. But they wanted to know, like, who are these people? Their shooting is what they do for a job, but like, what drives them? What motivates them? So I got to just like, I got to ask them questions. I'd sit down with them, fly out to their house. They'd like have me over. I'd stay at a hotel, but I'd be hanging out with them for a couple days. So I fly out to Kansas City, Missouri, and then hang out with this lady who's like a world-renowned shooter named Julie Golub, G-O-L-U-B, and she's like the best woman shooter in the world. So I would just like hang out with her, and she's super chill, has some awesome kids, awesome husband, all that. But she's just like crazy shooter. Like she was in the Army for a little while, like was a top ranked with that, and now she's like, last year I think she was like won the women's world shooting competition.
Wow, that's a crazy thing. I wouldn't mess with her.
No, like she's like super smiley, and if you go on like any of her socials, she's got like 100,000 followers here, 60 there, like different things. But she's super chill, and she's really good at what she does. But hanging out with her, doing her bio video essentially, I would just like hang out with like have like an interview set up, and I'm basically talk to her for like an hour and a half. In addition to filming all the B-roll and stuff, but like, why? Like, why do you do this? What motivates you? What do you think like when you wake up in the morning? So doing an hour and a half interview, then coming back, editing it down to a 2.5-minute video. So taking all those nuggets and editing and on the fly in my head of like, okay, she said this, here's a closing, here's opening. So doing that and then filming like crazy time lapses and B-roll and slow-mo shooting shots and all that. So, but like stuff like that where I can tell.
You do a lot of stuff. Yeah, you do your big clients. You have your regular clients, and you do some stuff for TV.
So that's what I like doing, is telling amazing stories with awesome visuals for different companies, whether it's corporations, businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs, single people, like whatever. Like if we can tell a cool story and do it through awesome visuals, like, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So are there any particular projects on your description right now in the video? I listed the video 101, which is on your eternalperspectives.com site.
EPPvideo.com.
EPPvideo.com, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you have a video, EPPvideo.com/video101, right? Which is
I don't know if that'll work because it's actually under my normal URL, eternalperspectiveproductions.com/video101.
Okay, well, we'll list it in the bottom.
Yeah, if you go to EPP Video and you click on the Video 101 tab, there's resources there. Like there's a PDF right now that's called 5 Tips for Creating Great Videos. And it's just like stuff you can do, like have a good mic, like have a little lapel, which you can buy for $40 with. I actually have like a discount code.
My lapel was cheaper than that.
Yeah, this one's by Aspen mics. It's
probably a nice one, yeah.
On par with Sennheiser and all that. So, but it's like 5 different things, like use natural light, use a lamp, use this, like how to like get something decent with your smartphone or if you have a DSLR. So that PDF is on there under Video 101. You can get to my Vimeo from there, which has probably like 300 videos. Over the past 4 years, I think I've done like close to 400 videos. Wow. So just like going crazy.
Yeah, and then he has 2 streaming sites that I made for him, which are San Diego Livestream.com and KawaiLivestream.com. Because he's getting into the live stream market, streaming super high quality 4K video with super legit audio and lighting.
Multiple cameras with
drone footage. Multiple camera angles, drone footage, all ported in live at the same time. Not a lot of guys offer that.
No.
Especially as a standalone service. Even if you were to go to like NBC or ESPN, Jon-Michael would give him a run for their money, for sure.
Yeah, and show up with way less gear. I could show up with a wagon and do what they do with like 12 satellite trucks.
Yeah, because they're still using gear from 1995 over there.
They're like, I got a camera over here, and I just like, oh, this one's better quality. And
it's funny, like I see those news things, and they still have like that tower so that they can broadcast live, and I'm like, I can do that HD from my 4G connection. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's so antiquated. Well, cool. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll probably do this again sometime, maybe in a month or a year or whatever. But let's close it out since the people who have listening have been very patient. There's no questions, but if you have questions, leave them in the comments. We're probably going to
reach out whenever.
Yeah,
like,
reach out to
my site.
In the description of this video, I got some links so you can reach out to Jon-Michael, or you can reach out to me if you have any questions. Anything you want to close out with, Jon-Michael?
I would just say that all of us have tools to create video, anything from smartphones to DSLR, and as everybody's creating content, but for less than $100, like even with that PDF, you can learn how to like make some awesome content with the tools you have for like on a shoestring budget. So if you have a business or you have a company or you're helping somebody, there's really easy things to do to have high quality stuff without spending an arm and a leg. And I really enjoy like helping people. So if you have questions about that, I offer consulting, but I also offer just like talking on the phone just for whatever. Like if you need help, I'll help you out.
Yeah. Yes, you could start a live stream like me.
Yeah. Okay, I can help you out with that. But these days, how video went from being, it's become a necessity. Before it used to be a luxury in any business or anything. It was like, oh, I have video as a luxury. But now it's a necessity for you to like survive and thrive as a
businesses can't survive without video production these days.
So it's an easy sell for me for something I've been doing since I was a kid. But I feel really blessed to be in this position, and that it's been a natural progression over my lifetime, and it's going to keep progressing. So, but yeah, so if you have pursuits or passions, like don't let the haters get you down. Like Joe was saying, like no's are it's just words. It's just no, you're not going to die. Turn that into motivation. Get fueled by the haters.
You're not going to die unless you do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, bring in people, bring in experts when it's outside your field, or be ready to learn and spend a bunch of time. Like for my 2 new websites, the live streaming ones, I had Joe do it because I'm busy enough, and he's an expert at creating sites. So if I expect someone to hire me as an expert for video, why not have that mentality for everything else in my life and around my company? So
furthermore, you can learn from those experts too, and you don't need to learn everything they know, but I mean, you can get a bare bones idea, and you know how to set up projects and be like basically a producer level person. For me, I hire tons of people.
Somewhat educated on it, and you know what's going on, then you're good.
And you know how to talk to them, because they speak a different language sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like English, French, Spanish. I mean, just like they speak like video jargon.
Videoese and binary and HTML.
And I speak web developer jargon too. Yeah. So
CSSEs and HTMLs.
Okay, cool. Let's get out of here. I'm going to close down the stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll talk to you later. Aloha.